叫赵一墨，今年17岁。这次拍摄呢，算是一个体验这个乡村足球和女性运动的那么一个机会，同时呢，也可以完成我这次高二的一个算是毕业拍摄作品。我姓赵，可以直接叫姐姐，可以叫一墨姐姐。17岁，高二，所以我也马上就毕业了，就是跟我也有差不多的学生。
我叫马轩啊，你们也可以叫我轩轩。我是受2位朋友的邀请来完成这次贪玩小女足纪录片的拍摄。
我叫高诗怡，我现在是在香港，然后读博士。大家可以叫我高老师，因为我的年纪应该要比你们大很多很多。我自己呢是一个球迷，然后大家可以看到我这个是不知道大家认不认得，这是一个切尔西的这个球队的这个球徽，然后我是切尔西的球迷。我觉得我们明天到了之后，可以先应该就是正常的把那2个训练的时间排一排，然后晚饭一起吃，然后完了之后去宿舍什么的。
我们周围的那个环境
就有一个 room tour。对。
The previous topic was we're trying to follow a men's soccer team. It's not professional soccer. It's kind of partly professional. They play every week, every month, and it's kind of a tournament thing. But for me, I don't think I can get involved in that group of people. I think the school is a more comfortable environment for me because I was in a school that is really similar. You know, the teacher teaches the same, the way we behave, the way we're taught to behave are all very similar. So I think it is an environment I'm going to be, more comfortable in.
当时我主要的这个研究方向，还是偏男性。知道说咱们这次拍摄能够去台湾玩小，我本身来讲是比较激动和憧憬的。如果是小朋友，尤其是小女孩，她去踢球的话，我就当时会预设很多，就是觉得这个性别的这个部分，它是不是会有非常多，不一样的碰撞。然后也很好奇，就是他们到底是怎么样在这个乡村玩小里面进行开展这个足球运动的。
We studied a few different poems and literature during our 11th grade that include Oscar Wilde's book, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and several poems by a Vietnamese, something to do with gender and something to do with the female and sexuality and all that. That was the perspective of literature work. Soccer being a representation of male masculinity in the community, I did not think it would be that obvious. At least for me, I don't see a lot of controversy between men and women in Nasizu. It gives a new perspective because when you look into the real world, most of the times the problem is not that obvious. Sometimes you have to dig into it a bit more. It was a 40-minute drive. We're going from the Lijiang main city out onto a checkpoint on the highway and then going for another 30 minutes until we reach the school. Even if it's summer and it's kind of rainy, then you turn around and you saw these 2 giant potato fields. It is summer and it is when the flower is blossoming, so it's all white, pure white flowers. Through the main road all the way to the school, and the school is in the middle of the field. Before you went in, it felt like some kind of utopia because it's pretty clean and beautiful environment. So yeah, that's the first impression. 6月15号12点05分，开始。The kids are typical Yunnan kids. There's something called 高原红. Basically, they have 2 bright red shades on their face because of continuous sunburn. And that's a thing that almost all Yunnan student child have, and especially in Lijiang because Lijiang is one of the higher altitude places even in Yunnan. I guess that's for the kids. Most of them are really outgoing. I think it might partly because they're in the countryside. If you actually go to Lijiang, you'll know that there are a lot of unique habits that Nasi people have. and the fact that we are from the same cultural background make them feel like I am easier to talk to and easier to interact with.
今天呢是一个比较简短的，大家可以稍微放松一点，没有关系。就是我们就想认识一下大家，然后希望我们就是如果方便的话，每一个小朋友都简单的自我介绍一下，然后简单的讲一下为什么会参加这个球队，可以吗？
我是4班的杨露比，因为我觉得踢足球很有趣，所以参加了足球队。我是王海贝，因为我这次球所以参加足球队。
我还蛮意外，就是同学们非常对我们的到来，就是一方面有一些好奇，然后另一方面是比较热情的接纳我们。
说一下啊，他们呢对我们大家呢非常感兴趣，所以呢在下面的几天里面呢，即将走进你们的学习、生活、训练。
And for the teachers, they're kind to the kids. Sometimes they might be a bit harsh because they have to keep 400 or 300 kids safe. And yeah, so that's a hard job. So I think it's quite impressive that they have a really good relationship with the kids. And for the headmaster, I think she plays a role that is, most of the time she is more behind of a scene. So she acts as a kind and calm and a powerful figure. She don't lash out to kids, or she's not, quote unquote mean to kids. But, the kids can feel her presence whenever she came. So it's a figure that they definitely respect and a figure they kind of look up to.
我们3个女孩在上面站着的时候，大家下面还是嘻嘻哈哈的。然后完了之后，我们结束了我们的自我介绍和一些小问题之后，校长上来又简单的讲了几句话。在这个时候，全班就是立马就安静了。我当时看到那个场景的时候，就心里还是笑了一下。我想说啊，这个校长的威严还是在的。这里是3天的。就这3个是吧？
那你们就现在就先打理一下行李。
If you want to capture the kids' life, you have to see their complete life, not just 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock until their soccer practice is over or something. If you want to see the complete life, you need to follow the whole 24-hour. We live with them because you are literally going into their private area, private space. I think that is a way of getting to know the kids sooner and faster. I think for the kids, they're not really realizing how big of a part sport or soccer is to their life right now. But they spend 2.5 hours on the field every day, and they have a 30-minute run during the lunch break. So it's actually a very big part of their life. One of the kids told me that every time during summer break and winter break, when they're not training, they miss soccer a lot. So it's the time when they're not actually close to the sport itself, they realize that, they're actually very close to it and they kind of depend on it. I think the fact that they're not even over 13 blended the gender difference. When you're around, between, 2 years old to 7-year-old, that's the phase of I don't even care if you're a boy or a girl, you're my friend or you're not my friend. That was phase 1. And then you gradually go into phase 2, which is, during your 8-year-old all the way until maybe 13, I guess 13 to 14, which is the age of, you getting very aware of the fact that they are boys and I am girls and we are biologically different. I think these kids, they're between phase 1 and phase 2. Some of the kids are a bit, annoyed by the fact that, they're saying that, boys are smelly after they sweat a lot and something like that. But It's just the natural difference between boys and girls and between men and female.
要注意重心要怎样？往上架。只用脚对侧。
You can see that the coach, he is doing all the drills he knows. He is trying to teach the kids all the things he knows about. But because the coach is also not a 100% professional soccer coach, there is only so much he can teach. You can see how the problem of a non-professional soccer coach actually influenced the kids. So yeah, I think the most important thing is that they play happily and they enjoy the whole thing.
我觉得，如果说从职业的角度来讲，这帮小朋友离职业足球这件事情还是比较远的，客观的来讲，差距是很大的。而像现在我们接触到的这帮玩小的小女足来讲，我认为足球更像是一个更集中的把他们的一些生活时间去抽出来，然后形成一个更有组织性的一个集体的这么一个角度。
那么这怎么变现吗？
They all enjoyed it a lot. You know, they played games against each other, boys versus girls, mixed girls versus girls, all that. The teachers are telling them that if you play soccer good enough, you can go to a better school and as a student athlete. But for me, I don't think they have enough time for that because most of the students are starting their soccer career at age 9 or age 10. I read a work a long time ago called The Prussian Model and Its Failure of Personal Ethics. It's basically saying the Prussian model is kind of educational system China are using right now. And for the US kind of education is called the Newman educational system. I was in a Prussian modeled school and then I moved into an international school, into IB, and into probably into a US college. I think you can see the difference. So the cultural influence is definitely there. The US being a country, they don't have the kind of tradition like the Chinese or the European to honor your ancestors or for them to treat everyone as equal. The Prussian model, I think, is also based on some kind of mutual respect, but the respect is different. The respect is also accompanied with a certain level of fear.
这应该就是我。
For dinner and lunch itself, it tastes a lot better than I thought it would be, and they actually have a very good meal. I think I thought that because it is a very rural place of Lijiang, it is a comparatively poor county. So I thought all the kids are just getting enough food to eat, but not enough for them to be completely full or something. But that's not really the case. They can eat as much as they want. They have enough food, the food are delicious. Yeah, I was out of my expectations. Grade 4 and grade 5 kids, they go brush their teeth and wash their faces around 8:30 is what I remember. And for grade 6s, they go wash their faces and brush their teeth around 9. And for the 6th graders, because they have a big test coming up, they have to do well in that test so they can go into a good middle school. So they have more classes after 8. Before bedtime, they have a 10-minute free time. And a lot of the kids came into the dorm that we're living in and said that they wanted to see the soccer player.
他们就也有一群小朋友就窜过来问我，就说：“哎，高老师，你喜欢的那个球员他长什么样子啊？”然后我拿我的手机给他们看，然后就一大圈人就是围着我那个手机，然后就一张照片的在那儿就是发出感慨，说啊好帅啊好帅啊。但是因为他们的洗漱时间很有限嘛，他们就跟我们约好说，我们回到宿舍之后能不能再来我们宿舍看一看这个帅哥。
some of the kids are in grade 4, grade 5, so they're like 10 or 11. And I am not folding my bed, and I am not washing all of my clothes at 10 and 11. Apparently they're not either, but so that was part of the curious things. And I think the fact that we lived with them for 2 nights and we went along with all their activities for 3 days is the reason we know them this well.